Hi, I'm the Global Runner, and I've been lying about my age. I'm actually 52 years old. I had a birthday recently, and yesterday I ran the first half marathon in Vancouver, and this is what happened. So I was aiming to get under 70 in this race. I had just run the Houston half marathon, and I ran 70:47. And I knew that this was going to be a fast race, and I wanted to see if I could get under 70. It was an ambitious goal, but here we go. So you can see the start. It was a nice gentle downhill. If you look on the left there, the guy in the white singlet is Cam Levins. That's the last we see of him for the entire race. But this was a super competitive field, and I knew that it was going to be a good opportunity to see if I could get under 70 minutes. And I was determined to go for it. I was determined to make sure that I ran as fast as I could and that I got out the gate properly, and I left it all out there. So this was my opportunity. This was the one time when I was really going to give it a go right out from the gate. Fast course, apparently. I'd never run it before. The weather was perfect. It had rained. It had absolutely poured the night before, which made the roads a little bit slippery. I was wearing the Asics Metaspeed Ray, which I absolutely love. I think I am in love with that shoe. It's amazing. I wouldn't race in anything else at the moment. But on this day, I was half tempted to go with the Pumas because they've got amazing grip. I think overall, I'm glad I went with the Asics, even though they didn't have quite the grip of the Pumas, or quite the grip that the Pumas would have had. And I was slipping a little bit, and we'll see later on when we get down by the beaches that I was slipping quite a bit, but that was fine. Everyone was slipping as well, and you know, it's just what you get on this sort of course on this sort of day. So the weather, like I say, not any wind whatsoever on the course. Perfect day in the Pacific Northwest, and just a really good day to try and run fast with a ton of people around. Now, I was number 32, and what had happened was when they got the elite field, they put everyone with their lifetime PBs and they ranked them in order. And I think there were about 50 elites, and I was 32nd on that list. So my goal in this race was to finish 32nd or higher. And without giving too much away, I finished 30th overall in this race. So I beat two people I had no right to beat. So happy with that, and happy with the overall result, which you'll see later on. Gotta love the sounds of a race. This is actually just nearly 3k into the race, and that bit we're crossing there was actually the start line. So we'd gone out one way, done a loop, and then come back the other way. So this was a little bit of an uphill, and what I didn't expect on this course was all the hills. We really had a lot more than I was expecting, and it was a bit of an out and back, and we did some of it on the seawall, which was dead flat, but a lot of it was through Stanley Park, which was rolling. And so, like I say, it was a lot more undulating than I was expecting. What I did enjoy throughout this race, though, was the group of people that I was with. I was always running with someone else, other than towards the very end when I got dropped by a couple of people I was with. But that's my fault, wasn't it? I should have stuck with them, and then it wouldn't have been a problem. So you can see I had people around me at this point, and we had quite a decent group. I was towards the front of it. I remember looking at the shadows as I was filming this and thinking, this is going to be a really good shot. And I think it is. You can see the group that we have here. I'm running at the front of it, which is probably, mine's the one with the rocking and rolling style in the middle there. But there's a good group of about 6 of us here, or 7 even, and I'm running at the front of it, which is probably not the wisest thing to do. But I was just enjoying myself, really sort of happy to have people around. And we were grinding up this hill. This you can't really see on this, but this is actually quite a significant hill. And we climb up this, and I think the street up that we're about to turn left into is Burrard Street. You go down a significant hill, and there was like a sort of chandelier there under the bridge, which was super cool. But I remember going down that hill in a moment and thinking, oh man, I hope we don't climb back up this. And we did. With a kilometre to go, we climbed back up that hill, and that really took it out of me. But we'll talk about that some other point. So at this point, I knew I was going fast, and I was probably going a bit too fast. Look, you can see this is a significant downhill here. And the guy there with the VFAC, keep an eye on him. We see him throughout the race. I think his name is James. Look, hang on, before we get there, there's the chandelier. I didn't see that on the way down, but how cool is that, chandelier under the bridge? So the guy, you just saw him wave wearing the VFAC singlet. I think his name is James, and he knew absolutely everyone in Vancouver. I turned to him at one point and said, man, you got some fans. And he said, yep, it's nice to have a lot of people around. I've got to say, the cornering in the Metaspeed Ray was not perfect. You might have heard a minute ago, the guy who came past me on the left there, I said sorry to, because I ran straight into him because the cornering was terrible. So those three got away for a little bit, and then we caught them up again. And so this was a situation where, sorry about it shaking all the time. I keep looking at my watch because I knew I was coming up to 5K and I wanted to get the 5K split. But we were cruising, we were enjoying ourselves, and we were running really well. I went through 5K in about 16:10, which was pretty cool. Like, I knew that was a little bit faster than I'd run in Houston, and I knew things were going well, and I knew that I'd gone out heavy and fast, but I was just enjoying myself. I didn't want to just slow down just for the sake of it. And I wanted to see if I could cruise with this group. And as you can see here, I was in a group. Like, there was an amazing group of guys to hang with here. And I was just trying to stick with them and not worry about the fact that we were still only 25% of the way through. Just trying to relax, just trying to find a rhythm. And I felt like it did have a rhythm. Now, what you can't really hear very well, and you can see I moved to the right here deliberately, it was super sandy. Like, there's a beach on the left. I think it's called English Bay, funny enough. But there was a beach on the left, and there was a lot of sand that was coming onto the path, and it felt really slippery. So I thought I would move away from the left-hand side of the path, which I thought was going to be more sandy, and try and stick to the right-hand side of the path. It didn't make a ton of difference. It was quite sandy and quite slippery, and I don't think any shoes would have given much of a grip on this surface, but it was dead flat and there was zero wind, and I just kept thinking it'd be great if we get out into a bit of sun, because that will hopefully dry things out and it will be less slippery. I did enjoy the fact here though that we had a nice group still of about 6 of us, and we had 2 people up front who I thought were going to come back to us. They certainly looked like they were going to come back to us at this point. So if I remember this correctly, the guy in the black singlet here puts in a proper burst. Yeah, there he goes. And the guy in the yellow singlet follows him. And I remember thinking at the time how disappointing that was, because I thought we had a really good group and I thought we were working well together. And as soon as he went off the front, the whole group like splintered. Now, fair play to him. He never came back. He beat me. And so for him to put that burst in at that point was absolutely fair play. And it's all about racing, isn't it? But I remember being quite disappointed when he did that, thinking, oh man, I wish we'd stayed together as a group just a little bit longer. So look at this view here. Talk about scenic. And throughout the race, I was thinking how scenic this was. A little bit of mist coming off the ground, nice flat section, lots of people to run with. I was really enjoying it at this point, and we were 7k in and we were moving. Like, I was happy with the way things were going. I was deliberately not looking at my watch. I had my watch only on distance run, and so I definitely went off a bit hot on this one. And I knew at 5k when I checked the time that I was a little bit hot. But again, I wanted to run by feel, and I wanted to see if I could surprise myself. So yeah, I could definitely be criticised for going off too fast on this one. but I wasn't watching the pace on my watch. I was just looking at distance run and just trying to run by feel. And I think you can surprise yourself more readily if you're prepared to do that. Now, of course, you risk times when maybe you might go off too fast, like I probably did in this one. But it's a race, and there are so few times that you can race. And I was trying to race the people around me. I was trying to catch the guy in front, and I was trying to fend off the people behind. And isn't that what a race is all about? So yeah, wasn't too focused on the watch and was more focused on trying to stay relaxed, trying to keep with the people around me. Now, again, I've mentioned a couple of times that this was quite undulating. You can't really tell with this video, but I remember this being a decent uphill. Again, so scenic with all these massive trees either side and the moss and everything like that. But it was quite undulating. There was a lot of up and down, and it was definitely more than I was expecting. For the race footage, I was wearing my Vanguards, the Oakley Meta Vanguards, and of course they've got that little camera in them. There's this little white dot that keeps appearing when the sun's around, so I'm not sure what that's about. Maybe I hadn't cleaned them properly or something, but anyway, sorry about that. But I was using those, and they're brilliant. They're just like a normal pair of sunglasses, and every now and then you could actually tell it to start recording, but I was just holding the button because I didn't want to be too annoying to people around me. So again, you can just see we've just gone up a little bump there, and then we come down the other side. So quite undulating. I remember up here there's this woman with this massive cowbell. There's the guy, the VFAC on the right. We raced him quite a bit. Listen to this cowbell. Okay, so here we are in Stanley Park, and the seawall is to our right. So we come back along the seawall in a bit, and the seawall was dead flat. There's the VFAC runner again. He's still with me. I keep wobbling around because I kept looking at my watch. I was trying to see when I hit the 10K mark because I knew I was running fast. And spoiler alert, we go through 10K in 32:40. Now, I'm not sure if that is 100% accurate because there was a tunnel at one point and the GPS may have been thrown off by the buildings and things like that. So I'm definitely not counting it as a PB or anything like that. It's the middle of a race. It might not be fully accurate. It didn't line up with their 10K, but either way, I was through 10K in either under 33 or around 33 minutes. So super happy with that. I knew that I was going to struggle to hold that in the second half, but I really wanted to see if I could. Like, what's the point of slowing down just because you're scared, just because you think you might not be able to do it? There was a chance that I could have held on, and I think with a flatter course, maybe I could have held on. So I wanted to give it a go. Now, I knew I was catching this guy in the white singlet, and I knew he was coming back quickly. And so I wanted to give him a bit of a pep talk as we went by. Let's go, mate. Actually, it wasn't that much of a pep talk at all, was it? In my mind, I gave him this real big pep talk, but clearly I didn't. So again, we'd gone up a bit of an incline where I caught that guy in the white singlet there, and now we were enjoying a downhill. And on the right, you can see the seawall every time I look right, and that's where we'll be running in a few minutes. So again, this guy wearing the VFAC singlet, we kept yo-yoing. He would run in front of me, and then I would catch him up, and then I thought he was gone, and then he would slow down and I would catch him up. So it's always good to have someone in a race, I think, that you can work off and really enjoy running with. And this guy seemed a really nice guy. We had a few very brief chats. I gave him a fist bump at one point and just really enjoyed running with him. This guy on the right said that if you rang the bell, you got a guaranteed PR. So I rang the bell, didn't get a PR. Turns out he was an absolute liar, that guy. Okay, so we're still in the park, and in a minute we do a big 180, which I didn't get on camera, but then we start running on the seawall. So here we are on the seawall. This had a little bit of a headwind, like the only wind in the entire race was here. But I mean, what a view. That is amazing, isn't it? And the guy in front, again, same guy, VFAC, he was a real silhouette at points. And man, like, we should take that picture of him running with the sea on your, well, I guess the Pacific Ocean on your left, and running along the seawall with the sun there, and we should stick it on the front of Runner's World, in my view. It was so amazing, like a really good view. I knew there were two guys quite close behind me at this point, and so part of me was just trying to stay with this guy in the singlet here, and part of me was trying to stay ahead of the two guys behind, and really just trying to work. Again, I wasn't looking at the pace. I've slowed a little bit at this point, but I'm definitely working. Like, my heart rate is in the 160s, which is quite high for me. And I was definitely working hard to make sure I didn't lose touch with anyone. I didn't want to be in no man's land. And this guy in front, we were working fast. We were working hard. But this guy in front definitely felt like someone I wanted to be running with. You can see on the right there are some people. We'd just run over that bridge, and so there are people who are coming the other way, and so we would get a lot of people cheering us. And like I say, this guy in front called James had a ton of people cheering him the whole way. But let's have a look at the seawall for a bit and enjoy some of the sounds of the race. So like I say, I pulled up on this guy's shoulder, and I think I overtake him in a minute. I tried to sort of tuck in behind him because there was a little bit of wind. But at one point I felt like I really should do my fair share of the work. So I did go past him a little bit. But it was funny. A guy catches us up in a moment and goes past at a pace. And this guy in front of me goes with him, and I lose him in about sort of 5 minutes time. And so he clearly was running within himself. So I don't know if it was me speeding up and slowing down or him speeding up and slowing down. But either way, we did yo-yo like this for a significant portion of the race until about 5 minutes later, when he leaves and drops me. Now, I think part of that was me starting to struggle at that point. I held the pace for as long as I could, but didn't quite have it at the end there. So we're coming up to the 10-mile mark here, and maybe this is where I lost my concentration a little bit. You can see what unfolded, which was the guy in the black singlet came past me, and the guy in the... Is it blue or is it purple? I'm colourblind. I'm going to go with blue, but it's probably purple. Went with him. And so the two of them were going just that little bit too fast. I'm a bit annoyed with myself that I just didn't have it in me to go with them. They were only going like 2 or 3 seconds a mile quicker than me. And if I could have just hung with them a little bit longer, then maybe I would have been able to stay with them. But hey, it's easy to say now when I look back on it. In the moment, I was running as fast as I possibly could. And you can see we go through the 10-mile mark in a decent time. Again, is it 53 and a half, or is it slower than that? I don't really know, but either way, I think it was definitely sub 54, which is what I ran in Houston as well. So decent 10-mile time, happy with that. And thanks to the volunteers here for handing out the drinks. They were all really disappointed that no one took the drinks. And I remember thinking at the time, give it a minute, there will be a lot of people getting these drinks off you. But yeah, funny what you think about during a race, isn't it? Now, I realise my breathing sounds a bit funny at this bit. Honestly, I don't know why. I think it might be that the video makes it sound heavier than it is, or more aggressive than it is. But yeah, I don't feel like I sound like that when I run, but clearly the video thinks that I do, so can't really argue with that. But it sounds weird to me as well. Just wanted to make that point. I do like these bits in races when you get people coming the other way. I find people coming the other way are super supportive, and really it's great to see everyone running the same race and be part of it with you. And I just like running along this bit and seeing all these people who are just like so happy to be out there and enjoying the race the same way we are, and just the cheer that you get from a lot of people and the general sense of just everyone out doing the same thing and being super happy about it. It's just, I like it when you see people coming the other way. It gives me a real boost. Okay, so my sunglasses warned me at the 17k mark that I only had 12% battery left, so I knew I had to save some for the end. So this is the final stretch into the finish. We'd just come up that hill with a big chandelier, and man, that really took it out of me. And if you look at Strava, all of this is on Strava, by the way, so you can see all the stats and everything on there. If you look at Strava, I really dropped probably about 30 seconds in the last 2 miles of the last 3k. This bit was downhill, but man, there was some serious uphills in the last 2 miles, and I just couldn't hold on. I just couldn't hang on. And so you can argue I went off too fast, but I gave it everything, and that's all I had on the day. Hey, there's a guy in a minute who took a video of me and he shouts out Global Runner. Listen. Hear that? Let's go, Global Runner. Appreciate you, man. He actually took a video. So that's the point at which the sunglasses ran out of batteries. So I was about 100 meters from the finish. I ran 71:16, which was good enough. It was 30 seconds slower than I ran in Houston, but it was a much, much harder course. So, hey, I'm happy with it. I didn't get under 70, so I didn't quite achieve what I wanted, but still super happy with that. We'll go through a full debrief in the next one, but for now, that's the race footage. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon.